So what were the shortcomings in those latter years that, again, at Princeton, that found expression in the latter years of the presidency?
Well, I've alluded to the fact that Wilson is a paradox from beginning to end. He is deeply perplexing. He perplexes me. He's perplexed every biographer. He perplexed his contemporaries. They could not figure him out. Wilson could be extraordinarily difficult. If you agreed with him, if you went along with him, you had a friend for life. No one could be more loyal. But if you suggested to Woodrow Wilson that he might be wrong, he could potentially just cut you out forever. And he did that to many, many close friends, many allies. He was his own worst enemy in that sense. And what biographers have tried to figure out is, why does he do this? I guess the number one theory is he's a serious Presbyterian. He seems to model his leadership style on the Old Testament prophet. He's divinely inspired. At one point, he does pound the desk and tell a fellow in his office, God ordained me to be president of Princeton, and my reforms are meant to be. Very hard to argue with that. So he's Presbyterian in an extremely intense way. That's part of it. What I've tried to argue in the book, too, is that he's also modeling himself on great men throughout history. He admires George Washington intensely, for example. But, you know, we look at George Washington as a kind of, a stuffed shirt. Wilson saw George Washington, above all, as hot-headed. And that's what he admired about Washington, is that he was a ferocious leader. So Wilson has an unusual take on his great men. But there's a third factor as to why Wilson could be so perplexingly impossible, and that's his health. Something was terribly wrong with his health all through the years of the Princeton presidency. At one time, he woke up in the morning, he couldn't move his right hand. It just lay limp on the desk. So what did he do? He teaches himself to write with the left hand. He just plows ahead. And then another day he wakes up, he cannot see out of one eye. So something is wrong. And the theory now is that he was having a series of little strokes. And as you know, if you have a stroke, it can change your personality. It can make you difficult. It can make you suspicious. It can make you irritable. And we do see all of those things at Princeton. And of course, again, we're going to see them in a much worse way in the White House.